folks, MasakoX here. Raditz here is quite possibly the biggest legacy I might have on this channel. According to some, I have ruined the Dragon Ball fandom thanks to upping the Raditz hype to the nth degree. But of course, we all know that Raditz's legacy came around far before my time, transcends my meager corner of the internet. Raditz's life, and his life was different when he got the chance to sup the delights of Earth here instead of his brother, who had to fend for himself after years of being toyed with by Freeza. Then they got to be together, then apart, and then maybe now starting to be together again? You see, this story is quite complicated, but it could easily be resolved should these brothers work together again. Or some other outside factors decide to play along. In the last part, Kakarot and Raditz had not been talking for years. After what had gone down in the Room of Spirit in time, some truths being revealed, the brothers had not been able to reconcile, despite Raditz wanting to so very much. But, at least they hadn't turned Earth into their own personal battlefield, am I right? That was something, thought Korin and Kami. But Raditz then hit upon an idea to make amends, thanks to Bulma's prodding. The Namekian Dragon Balls could, in theory, bring back Kakarot's dearest friend, the one who had done what Raditz should have done all those years ago. Maybe they could bring back Nappa. Raditz had thought about bringing back their parents, but he wasn't sure if that would have been wise. And as it turned out, it would require one wish per person at that time, so it was inefficient. Later perhaps, and Raditz still remembered his time meeting Bardock. Yeah, Kakarot agreed to this idea, and genuinely thought that this was an acceptable means to try and repair the scars from their relationship, which was currently in tatters. Bulma, who had come up with the idea in the first place, put together the remains of Kami's old ship, and they set off for Namek, with a bored prince in hot pursuit having spotted the craft where it shouldn't have been. The adventure on Namek was quite easy, since Frieza had been unaware of the Dragon Balls, and Porunga was quickly summoned without any trouble. That is until Vegeta showed up and decided to have a little chat with the brothers, Kakarot being presumed dead after escaping Mediani Galactic's employment back in the day, in Part 9. Will the prince play ball with the Dragon Balls? Let's resume. The prince stood beneath the impressive sight of Porunga, completely unaware of what the dragon was doing there, and that he had something to do with the Dragon Balls, much like his boss. He was also ignorant of the immense gulf in strength between himself and the sons of Bardock. I hope I wasn't interrupting anything important. Or was that just wishful thinking of mine? Vegeta, do not tell Frieza of these Dragon Balls! Knowing him, he will come here and destroy this planet to get them! Vegeta waved his hand casually. Oh, you seriously think I would do something so boneheaded? Please, I want these for myself, so that I may claim immortality and be rid of that fool once and for all, after what he did to our homeworld. Raditz and Kakarot looked concerned. What are you talking about, Vegeta? It was blown up by a meteorite. I thought that myself when I was a stupid child, but I've come to the conclusion that it was most likely bunk. It all adds up. Frieza wanted us dead, or at least the majority of us, or those brave enough not to run away. He glared at Raditz when he said that part. Stop wasting our time, Vegeta, piped up Kakarot. You think you can stop me? Stop us? Vegeta cracked his knuckles. You don't seem all that strong, Kakarot. And even that gimmick of yours isn't enough to save you from the pummeling that I am about to— Kakarot rushed Vegeta right there and then and gut punched him in a split second. The prince was stunned. He did not see that coming. It also hurt a lot. He fell to the floor and then proceeded to try and get up again, but Kakarot grabbed his arm and clenched it tight. I've wanted to do this for so long, Your Grace. What? Ah! Vegeta's wrist was crushed in Kakarot's grip, the latter letting him go and the prince clutching what remained of his broken arm. He had no answer to this. He had not prepared for such a dominant counterattack, or any attack for that matter. Raditz then chose this to be the best time to walk over to Vegeta and kick him away from the dragon. What was your coming here supposed to achieve, Prince? When the way I see it, all you did was get yourself banged up with nowhere to go. And Kakarot's power? That's not the only thing that will surprise you today. Vegeta got up and nursed his broken limb as he gazed at the pair of them with mad desperation. Kakarot's surprise was comical enough, but yours? Too late. Raditz powered up to Super Saiyan, and immediately Vegeta hit the floor. He definitely did not anticipate to stumble across the legendary Super Saiyan of legend today, and it being Raditz. Kakarot watched on, unimpressed. Clearly, his brother was showing off. Kakarot, make the wish whilst I keep the prince in order, Raditz said with a serious tone, and Kakarot did so. With Dende's help, he asked the dragon to bring back Nappa and to teleport him to Namek with the second wish, so that he could be together with his nephew once more. Well, yeah, adopted nephew. You seriously used such a remarkable magical artifact to bring back Nappa? What a waste. Raditz loomed over him. Sometimes, Prince, the simplest of wishes yields the greatest of pleasures. In seconds, Nappa was not only back in the land of the living, but right in front of the three. He was confused, to say the least, as to what was happening and why he was here, but he then recognized the distinct hair of his friend. Kakarot? Is that you? You're taller. It's been a while. A long while. They shook hands and then hugged quietly. Nappa then spotted Raditz. Oh, you found each other then? Kakarot thought about explaining the full story, including how cowardly Raditz had been by running away, but he chose not to. Raditz had come through, he thought, so this should probably be the beginning of the end of their little spat. Thank you for taking care of my brother, and I believe your boss is here to say hello, through the pain of his injuries. Boss? You mean... Oh, hey, Vegeta! What happened to you? Don't ask. Well, I just did. A little late to be asking that, Vegeta. The prince sighed. Dende then reminded them all that Purunga, who had been waiting very patiently as all of this had been going down, still had one more wish to grant. That got the brothers thinking. Meanwhile, Nappa was getting used to his surroundings. This had been a much more greener place than where he had been down in Hiffle. Vegeta, though, he was trying to contain his pain, but then Raditz slipped him a senzu bean, which he had packed just in case the brothers had maybe gotten a little bit too vigorous with each other. Quit your simpering, Prince. Eat this. Vegeta then ate it, and his wrist was healed instantly. What? What was in that? It's a senzu bean, and that was the only one we had. It wasn't. And if you cause another stink, I can't and won't be so generous. So play ball, all right? Vegeta silently complied. Perhaps I was a little too hasty in my proposition. Ha! That means he's thinking stuff up on the fly. Kakarot chuckled. Shut up, Nappa! This could be in all our best interests. Kakarot, how badly do you want Frieza dead? Kakarot thought for a second. Well, I'm not sure I'd want him dead, but I'd want to get some catharsis in some way. Good enough. Why don't we work together and try and take him down? After all, Raditz over here supposedly could waste him before he could even think. Before he even has a chance to transform. Transform? Said Kakarot and Raditz together. He can do that? According to Goldo, he works for the Ginyu Force, Frieza's elite squad, so he should know. But that's besides the point. What I propose is that we go to where he shows up next and waste him. Give him a real fright. Why do you want to destroy him? Asked Raditz. You work for him. Tch, barely. He's had little use for me as of late. Left me to my own devices pretty much. I'm not on his radar. Well, that will end up being the worst decision he ever made. What do you say? Do you want to rule an empire? The group was silent, but then Kakarot spoke. I don't want an empire, Vegeta. I wanted my friend back. I got that. And that's all that matters. You're on your own. Raditz then spoke, backed up by Nappa. Wait, Kakarot, think about it. If Frieza is still out here, he could easily come for us should he get bored. Granted, we could take him out no problem, but innocent lives will still die before we get to him. If we do it now, take him out. Nobody on Earth need be hurt or have to so much as look at his ugly face at all. Your bro's got a point, Kakarot. If you got the power to do it, then we'll do it. Kakarot was torn, but he would rather not have anybody on Earth get hurt. And Raditz was being logical for once. All right, Kakarot said grudgingly. But no empire, Vegeta. or else Raditz will break your other arm. The third wish was to give Nappa a temporary shield, so that he may join the group in wasting some fools and not be killed again in the chaos. Besides, I want to pay Dodoria and Zarbon a visit. With that, the ship headed off of Namek, the group thanking Dende and the Namekians for their hospitality, and set a course for Frieza Planet 1, the home of Frieza's reign. Along the way, Vegeta and Nappa guided the brothers to key points that would cause the most disruption and reduce Frieza's capacity to call for backup. If they were going to do this, it would probably be better if they were not interrupted by outside forces trying to spoil the fun. This meant destroying communicator towers, satellites, as well as disabling crucial defense craft and facilities. Now, this didn't go unnoticed. Frieza did get wind of these things going offline one by one, but based on the surprise nature of such things, he merely assumed that these things were down to some kind of glitch or operator error. What kind of power could cause that in one go? I would know about it, and I know that it doesn't exist, said Frieza with bitterness towards Kikuno, who would dare suppose that this might be something to do with bad agents or a particular person. However, Kikuno had been right, because not long after that, the craft containing the Saiyans landed on the planet, and much like how Raditz had handled the Red Ribbon Army, they went to town. With Vegeta and Nappa taking out some of the lesser grunts and whatnot, including Zarbon and Dodoria, Raditz and Kakarot headed for Frieza directly. The brothers were in arms once more, and throughout their path to Frieza, they started to reconcile somewhat with each other. I'm sorry for all that has happened, Kakarot. I hope this can go some way in showing you that I want to atone for my stupid ways. Kakarot smiled. It's a start, bro. That was enough for now, Raditz thought he would bank that. Soon enough, Raditz and Kakarot burst through the throne room door and locked eyes on Frieza. Frieza was surprised, but not in terms of their power, because he couldn't sense it, but by who had come to dinner. Well, well, my little pet monkey has come home all by themselves, who's a good boy. And you brought your brother, the radish. To what pleasure do I have in receiving you? Have you come to return to the fold? If so, then your bombastic announcement was a little excessive, but no matter. You can pay it off for the rest of your servitude. Frieza was cut off when Kakarot rushed him and punched him in the face. Yes, normally Kakarot wouldn't have been strong enough in the base form to do this, but he managed to take Frieza by surprise, so he got a pass. Raditz walked slowly over to Frieza. It's the end of the road, Lord Frieza. You're done. Frieza again found all of this rather entertaining. And what makes you so sure of this? He then whipped Kakarot across the face with his tail, and that sent him into the wall. Now, Raditz could have gone Super Saiyan right there and then, but he chose not to. He wanted to wait for the right moment, but he was confident, regardless of him not resorting to his ace in the hole. You really shouldn't have done that, Frieza. That's only going to get him madder. What? Madder than I am right now? I doubt it. He then punched Raditz in the face, sending him to the floor, before then stomping him on the ground with his clawfoot. I have seen brazen acts of defiance in my lifetime, but this has to be one of the most disappointing things I have ever seen. Where's the follow-through? Or at least the attempt to show a follow-through? Raditz then spat out some blood and laughed. Well, if that's what you want, show him, Kakarot. I know you've been hiding it. Not long after that, yellow sparks flew from the rubble of the wall, and out from it exploded a Super Saiyan. Kakarot had the power all along. Without questioning why Raditz knew of this, at least not yet, he rushed Frieza, and that led to Raditz powering up as well. Together, the two Super Saiyans grabbed Frieza, him being aghast at the sight. Two legendary Super Saiyans of legend? The sons of the one that dared to defy him all those years ago? Oh. Now, yes, he could transform, but that was then being superseded by his instant sense of terror, shock, and what was supposed to be a fairy tale being a reality. Impossible! How? Try not to think, Frieza, said Raditz with a sinister smirk. It won't distract you from the pain you're about to experience. It makes death all the more frightening. The pair perform a joint double Sunday. Kakarot had been taught this in the time chamber prior to their disagreement, and wiped out Frieza before he even had the chance to counter. Frieza was no more. The throne room had been reduced to a ruin, and that sent the remainder of the Frieza force scurrying for their lives. Vegeta and Nappa headed for the remains of the room to meet up with Raditz and Kakarot, and found them powered down and vertical. Vegeta was flabbergasted.
You did it. You actually did it.
What, Vegeta? You seriously think we wouldn't have? Or was that your intent all along, to send us to our doom? If so, I'm sorry to disappoint you, said Kakarot.
No, Vegeta said shyly.
But then Kakarot asked how Raditz knew he could turn into a Super Saiyan.
I could sense you and you could sense me. I noticed when you achieved it, but I left you alone since, we weren't talking.
You knew all along?
Yep, but I respected your wishes nonetheless.
Huh, said Kakarot, dumbfounded.
Besides, you got to finish Freeza off. We got to. Together.
Kakarot smiled.
Yeah, we did it.
Vegeta then looked at them with seriousness.
Well, about that. We're not entirely done here. You see, there's one more.
But Vegeta was cut off by the sound of a boom from down below, and out from the rubble popped up a very angry-looking and larger version of Freeza, but more purple. It was cold, and he was mad. But that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. If you like the story where Raditz was a better person, you can also check out this one, where Raditz is a do-gooder in Gine's timeline, where she went with Goku to Earth and grew up with him. And as always, I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!